Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Evan Wit with the Evan Wit Podcast, and I'm here on Friday, January 19th, coming to you talking some WWE and professional wrestling, kind of getting an insider look a little bit, talk about the Royal Rumble Raw 25 coming up very, very soon, Royal Rumble as well. Before that, really quick, the NFL playoffs, the NFC and AFC championships are coming up, and want to give my quick predictions on that, and I will ask my guest later on in the show if he wants to give his predictions as well. But the AFC, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars making the AFC championship for the first time in quite a while, playing the New England Patriots, who seem to be there every single year. On paper, it should be a Patriot victory pretty easily. However, I wouldn't, give the Patriots the win yet. Jacksonville does pose a challenge to New England, as the Jaguars are built pretty similar to the New York Giants of 2007 and 2011 on the defensive side of the football, and they got a power running game in Leonard Fournette and T.Y. Yeldon as well. T.Y. Yeldon as well. So, that's going to be quite the challenge for New England, protecting Brady, and Jacksonville can make it a sloppy game, just depend on their power of football and get after the quarterback. But I still think New England's going to win. The Patriots have been there numerous times before. They know how to win in this situation, and I see a close game with New England just squeaking by in the end. And then in the NFC, we got the Vikings and the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't know why I just drew a blank right there. I've been reading up on it all day and just drew a blank all of a sudden. But you got the Minnesota Vikings traveling to Philadelphia, trying to get to the Super Bowl for the first time in quite a while. Their last three NFC championship games did not go well, two of them in heartbreaking fashion, losing. And the Eagles, they last went to the Super Bowl in 2005, falling to the New England Patriots in that one. In this one, I would love to see the Eagles win this. However, there's something about this Viking team. You saw it in the Saints game last Sunday. Found a way to win. Heartbreaking loss to the Saints. Like I said, there's just something about this Saints team. This Vikings team. I don't know what it is, but I think the Vikings do get the victory in a close matchup, and we see a Patriots and Vikings Super Bowl in Minneapolis. Vikings will be hosting the first team ever to host the Super Bowl in their home stadium. But with that, like I said, we're going to be talking some WWE, some professional wrestling, WWE Raw 25, and some Royal Rumble. And with that, I have a special guest on the show, professional wrestler Ryan Kross, gracious enough to spend some time with us this Friday evening. And before first question, I want to say thank you so much for spending some time with me, Ryan.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate being on, and can't wait to answer some questions and let some of your listeners know some of the inside stuff on pro wrestling.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, you are a professional wrestler. You have experience with WWE. You have experience with TNA. You have experience with other promotions as well. Why don't you just give a quick background about your wrestling background really quick, why you got started, when you got started, and just kind of go from there.
Well, I was a lifelong wrestling fan. I grew up watching it, as a kid, making sure I tuned into WWF Superstars and WWF Wrestling Challenge every Saturday and Sunday. WWF Saturday Night's Main Event on Saturday nights. And occasionally we would watch World Class Championship Wrestling from Texas or the AWA on ESPN. And then I basically got started with my grandpa watching that. And then as I moved on, and I never lost the passion for it. And in high school, I got to spend Monday nights watching Nitro on WCW and WWF Raw with my best friends, Mike Christensen and Rick Haber. And we carried it on. And then after high school, I continued to watch. And then I saw an advertisement for an indie wrestling show And I went to it and fell in love with the independent side of professional wrestling, which is basically like a farm system for WWE and WCW at the time. And I went to North American Wrestling Federation, the NAWF's pro wrestling school, which was ran by gorgeous Jerry Fox, or Rockin' Randy from the WWE. And I started training in 2001 and 2018, and I plan to continue wrestling for a few more years.
Yeah, and you also, we were talking, you do some events locally as well, and you actually got one coming up in a couple months. Can you tell me a little bit about that at the Brat Stop in Kenosha?
Yeah, I've been promoting SSW, which is Stars and Stripes Pro Wrestling, SSW Entertainment, for about 13 of the 15 years they've been in existence. And we run shows at the Brat Stop, usually on a monthly basis. So we have a show coming up in January on the 28th, and that's at the Brat Stop at 5 p.m. bell time. And you get your tickets at the door or at the SSW Facebook page, which is SSW Entertainment on Facebook. And then we have a huge show, which is kind of like our WrestleMania coming up, and it's our 15th anniversary, and that's on May 27th. And we'll have former WWE superstars Kevin Thorne and also WWE's Hornswoggle will both be on the card, along with some of the most recognizable names in the Midwest in independent wrestling.
Yeah, that sounds extremely awesome. I'm excited for the one coming up in May. Getting to watch that. And also, aside from wrestling, you also have a business as well that you operate before you jump into Royal Rumble and WWE and all that stuff. Why don't you share the listeners a little bit about that and how they can up their fitness game if they choose to do so?
Well, we're the only hardcore supplement superstore in Kenosha, Lake County, and we operate out of 7535 22nd Avenue in Kenosha. It's Sports Nutrition Standard, or SNS, for you wrestling fans. Our logo is simply the NWO logo from back in the days. And, from time to time, we have the professional wrestlers that stop in. Animal from the Road Warriors has been a guest at our store, and Kevin Thorne from the WWE will be there on May 26th doing a free autograph signing for friends and family and customers of the store. And, we have everything to meet your fitness needs, and we have a ton of experience and knowledge that we can help you with. I've been a personal trainer for about 13, 14 years, and I'm also a former competitive champion bodybuilder. So I have a wealth of knowledge I like to share with our customers.
Yeah, I was actually just there last night, stocked up on some Bang energy drinks, which I would say I do love, and you can find them at your store, and also my, pre-workout drink and some aminos. And, I do, it's I don't want to say a bit of a drive. It's probably about, 25-minute drive for me, but I would much rather kind of go out of my way, or I could go someplace else, maybe a little closer. I'd rather go out of my way, for the biggest reason, you have a much better selection than what I've seen in other places, including the big store, big name brands like GNC. You got much better selection. You know your stuff over there, and it's the customer service in general. I really do enjoy. Like, I come in, I feel welcome. I feel like both you and then the gentleman that helped me yesterday want to truly help me reach my fitness needs, not just try to sell me on a product that may not be what I need. And, I just want to encourage listeners as well. Check out Sports Nutrition Standard. Check them out on Facebook or Instagram, and check out the store. It's be a great experience there for you to participate in. So, moving on there.
We're the only supplement store that's endorsed by former WWE wrestling legend Road Warrior Animal. He has his sign of approval on SNS.
If you got Road Warrior Animal's approval, then you got mine too. So, I want to move on. You mentioned you wrestled with me with TNA. You wrestled with WWE. TNA, I don't even know what they're calling themselves these days. I think Impact. I know they're Global Force Wrestling with Jeff Jarrett at one point. Athens Sports was owning them, and I know they've kind of gone on a slippery slide over the past several years. And kind of want to get your, talk about your background with TNA and why you think it is where it is today, which is I don't even know where I could find it on my television dial at this point.
Well, the infamous story that's going around, if you've heard, is absolutely true. With my TNA career, I came in and did one match for TNA Explosion, which is a syndicated show that they do local. It airs in Nashville, Memphis, Knoxville. Basically the Mid-South area. Their local TV, I came in, I did one match, and we were supposed to go about 8 minutes. I finished the match in about 6.5 minutes, and when I was told that I went too short by Jerry Jarrett, I decided to pipe up and say, well, at least I didn't go too long, and he said, no, now we have to sell advertising to cover the minute and a half that you shorted us, and you're not welcome back. So, yes, I was hired and fired by TNA in one match.
Sounds like a not that pleasant experience. I figured I figured going short would be better because then you go long, then other people got to go short. But I guess you feel it that way.
You would think that, but you know what? If you go too long on a match, they can always edit it down. If you go too short, then they have to fill in that time. So I learned very fast that's what happens in independent wrestling.
Yeah, well, with TNA, they really started to hit their stride shortly after WCW went on. I think 2001 was the final. I think was it May 2001? I think it was. It's like right around the end of WCW. My time frame could be wrong, but
nope,
TNA
you're right. You're right.
Cool. So TNA comes around as an alternative, which I feel the wrestling industry needs a legit alternative to Vince McMahon and the Titan Empire. I feel they need a legit competitor, and TNA looking like they could be that. And out of the blue, to me, it looks like they made the exact same mistakes that WCW made when they decided they wanted to bring in Eric Bischoff and Hulk. He brought in Hulk Hogan, and then you see some of the old WCW guys like Scott Steiner and Booker T. Then you get Mick Foley, Ric Flair. They started, focusing on the older veterans, which WCW did, failing to develop younger talents. And they ended up folding when people, I would feel, probably got a little bit tired of seeing the same faces on top all the time. They got rid of their six-sided ring, which was unique to them. And to me, I don't think they've ever fully recovered from that Hulk Hogan, Eric Bischoff era. What are your thoughts on that? The TNA, they go from looking like the legit competitor to all of a sudden, like I said, I don't even know where they are on the television dial anymore.
Well, I'm going to disagree with you here. I don't think that they were ever they were never a legitimate competitor to WWE. Did they have talent? Yes, they had talent.
I guess I could rephrase that as a potential, possibly down the road. I guess I should rephrase it like that, I guess.
Yeah, at the time, they just, you're nothing without TV. And the TV deals that they had was, I think they were on, like, Spike TV for a while on Friday nights. I think they were on, now I don't even know how to find them. I think they're on Pop TV or something like that, but it just, they used the big name guys like Steiner and stuff, and Kevin Nash, Cactus Jack, Ric Flair, Hogan, Bischoff. They tried to use those names to try to recruit some of the TV deals, and they just never got the TV deals because of it. They thought that by signing the big name guys, that it would draw attention to them. Well, Kurt Angle versus Samoa Joe was a great match, probably one of the top 10 matches of all time. But when nobody's watching it, it doesn't matter what you have. So, they never really hit more than a 1.5 in the Nelson ratings. And you just can't run a show based on a 1.5. Not when WCW and WWE in their heyday were scoring 7.5s and 8.5s respectively.
Do you ever see